Hello. I'm the #1
David Lee Roth fan
in the world, and I remember it so you don't have to. It's a long debated question.
Music communities.
What is the best trilogy? There are plenty of reasonable options to choose from, be it the impeccable
Tekashi 69 Records,
universally acclaimed
Tom MacDonald Records,
the hilarious
Metallica Trilogy,
or I may even allow
Weezer's discography
as an acceptable answer. However, there is one sacred
set of albums
that have been severely overlooked. Yes, of course. I'm talking about
David Lee Roth's solo career, Steve Vai, Billy Sheehan, Greg Bissonette, and Ted Templeman
make up an ensemble of characters so important to me that it may even begin to sound like I'm exaggerating. Believe me, I'm not. I consider this trilogy to be the inverse of the
Guns N' Roses albums.
Instead of
The second album
being the weakest in the MCU, I think most true fans would agree that the
second album
is the best one, followed closely by the
third,
and followed closely by the weaker but still awesome
first album. The first album
is packed to the brim with off-the-cuff references, which I love.
Michael Jackson
and others are referenced. It's hilarious fun for the entire family. Let's not forget the catchphrases that are still remembered.
It's live on Dave TV, Hamala Bebhula Zebula.
And when
David Lee Roth
utters
Bubahula Hamala Bebuha Zebula,
I get chills, sure.
The campy skits
hasn't aged the best. But believe me, it looked just as bad.
1985.
As many have realized at this point,
Van Halen, that used to have David Lee Roth, completely ripped off his vibes of this first album.
Which goes to show how influential it turned out to be. It's a shame
a better album
isn't remembered more fondly. Now, we can all agree
Vaudeville
is really cute and funny. And of course, we have to respect the establishment
of Diamond Dave,
if not simply for the expanded MCU TV show,
No Holds Barbeck,
which is essential viewing to anyone who is worth their salt in the MCU community. But while I can, and always will, respect the establishment of such icons, at the same time, you have to understand that this is just the beginning. The backbone of
Dave's career
is yet to come. Yes, you heard me correctly. As good as the
first album
is, things don't really get moving until we finally get to the Empire Strikes Back of
David Lee Roth albums. Eat 'Em and Smile
marked the first time that I felt emotion. It was the night before my birthday. I couldn't sleep from the excitement, so I decided to put on something that would be simple and easy to watch. Sure, I could have put on something edgy and boring
like Mad Villainy in the Court of the Crimson King.
You know, the obvious factory-produced garbage we're all used to at this point. But instead, I ironically placed on
Going Crazy,
assuming I would turn it off in mere seconds. The clock ticked over into midnight,
just as Dave pranced around wearing a horsetail.
Tears filled my eyes as I looked at the time and noticed that it was my birthday. Let's just say, that's a 25th birthday memory I'll never forget. Ever since that day, I've been a die-hard
Dave fan.
In the fandom, we go by the moniker of
the Diamond Ones.
That's only for the elite few who have important roles in the
David Lee Roth subreddit.
Sure, some might say that
Eat 'Em and Smile
is a rip-off of
5150.
Except if we're actually honest with ourselves for just one moment, it's clearly obvious
that Eat 'Em and Smile
has a much more genuine sense of humor,
better stage choreography,
and so much more. Fuck
5150.
I don't mean to get emotional, but please, how can I sit back and not call out blatant copying such as this? I guess the proof is in the pudding as far as relevance goes. Many more people
don't remember Jim Dandy.
Only idiots don't see the deep political satire behind this
album. The band
are capitalists through and through. This is
Dave
finally putting his foot down against communism, cleverly using cute
asked
to get this message across to children. One of the strongest
songs,
arguably in the entire trilogy, is when
Dave fights back against censorship.
Fuck the Avengers.
Dave is
Honestly cooler and basically more capable in every single way. Speaking of the Avengers, Dave's the Thanos of this universe. He represents the sickening nature of absolute power through dictatorship. But at the same time, he's still extremely funny and has a pretty good singing voice. His chemistry with
Steve Vai
obviously stops things from getting too intense or serious, which I'm happy for. The commentary doesn't end there though. Far from it.
Sammy Hagar
Has an emotional journey where
Sammy
can't find the real
Dave.
because he's racist. Luckily, by the end,
Sammy
learns not to be a bigot. Thanks for the lesson.
Dave.
The emotional center of this
Album.
is the love triangle between
Sammy Hagar, David Lee Roth, and Eddie Van Halen.
the importance of
David Lee Roth,
cannot be misunderstood. Not only is he a cultural icon,
but he performs in a bluegrass band.
I get up, baby, nothing gets me down.
he brought an element of vulnerability
To the music,
which is crucial to the
Sammy Hagar
arc, which is about him learning to come to terms with the fact that he is a cuckold. Fuck,
him and Smile,
at least compared to
the most second strongest album.
the most beautiful conclusion of a trilogy since Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Or maybe even Alien Cubed. As I mentioned earlier,
Skyscraper is the most second strongest album.
in the MCU. Yet, the animation is stunning. The action is more intense.
Our man is
Crazier than ever before. Are you telling me the circus is in town? Sign me up. What's this?
Dave needs to scale a cliff. Can he do it and belly dance?
Do you honestly think you stand a chance of putting
This album
down?
This album cover was designed by the same legend that co-founded the Picasso brothers.
Which really shows in the
Amazing chemistry with Dave and his showgirls.
It's safe to say that things get hairy. Sometimes you need to ask yourself, hey, do I really need
To hear a good album,
Do I really need to waste my time with stuff that's just going to confuse me? Why would you put that much pressure on yourself, especially when clever, underrated gems like this exist?
Uy, que bella! Me refiero a la Yankee Rose. Una rosa silvestre.
I say, explore the bottom of the barrel. Never leave your comfort zone. Settle for whatever you can get, and you might just find
and the David Lee Roth solo career
is the greatest and the purest series of
discographies
of all time. And I personally cannot wait for this trilogy to become a qualology. So next time you look down on
Miss Blobby, cocaine-inspired mantyhose or fat suits,
remember that these beautiful pieces of art were made by people. And what are people aside from humans? I'm only human after all, so don't put the blame on me. This has been
Lil Man,
the #1
David Lee Roth fan.
signing off.
And I know